Trying to walk just on top of the roads here, the paved roads, so you can expect there's nothing underneath. This is the stuff of nightmares. It's like a post-apocalypse place. Each one of those apartments was a family that used to live here, or they got killed, or they just have to leave their house. This is the fallen minaret. That's the minaret from that mosque over there, and it's just collapsed here. Welcome to Damascus, Syria, and you see a lot of those on the streets. Hello everyone, welcome to another video from out of your comfort zone. My name is Rodrigo and we are here in Damascus, Syria. More precisely, the neighborhood of Jobar, one of the most destroyed places in the whole Syria during the civil war, the 13-14 years of civil war. 1 year after the liberation of the country by the rebel groups coming out of Idlib and going all the way to Damascus to kick out Bashar al-Assad, who is now hiding in Moscow, Russia. This video is going to be showing a little bit about the destruction and how things in some parts of Syria haven't been reconstructed at all. But also I'm going to show the contrast, the new Syria, the old town of Damascus, the souks, the bazaars, and how alive it is, the citadel, and how it seems like for a lot of people life just go on and it's a new Syria. Most people are very hopeful about their future, so I'm going to contrast these two for you. And if you've seen my other videos, you probably already know that I'm a geopolitical analyst. So my videos are not just about, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me, but I give a lot of nuance, a lot of context about the places we are visiting together, showing that most times things are not black and white. Politics and geopolitics are very complex issues with a lot of nuance. So when we are traveling, we are not just looking at places, we are trying to understand the places together, you and I, because I also learn a lot why I'm traveling. But first we start here in Jobar. It's a neighborhood, again in Damascus, and was a rebel stronghold very close to Damascus. They could easily bomb the center of Damascus from here. So the Assad regimes, with the help of the Russian Air Force, took a lot of effort and a lot of destruction power to try to dislodge the rebels here. So as you can see, all this destruction was done mostly by the Assad forces, the government forces at the time, but a lot from the Russian Air Force. Even this mosque here, all destroyed. We can explore too much inside this rubble because there's still booby traps, maybe there's still UXO, unexploded ordnance, so it's still dangerous just to go around and walk. I'm trying to walk just on top of the roads here, the paved roads, so you can expect there's nothing underneath. But I wouldn't go adventure myself too much out of there. Maybe you haven't watched it yet. We have videos about Aleppo, about Idlib, the rebel stronghold, Kandahar of Syria, the most conservative place in Syria. We have videos about Latakia, the most progressive part of Syria, and now Damascus. And there I talk a lot about the war itself, and the different actors that were involved in the war, and how some minorities are feeling the new government today. And we were in Aleppo during the 1 year commemoration of the liberation, and it was like a massive carnival, like World Cup final, incredible. Take a look at this video if you're interested in how to see people are commemorating now this new Syria. And just already updating you all, we travel so much, we believe it's quite safe, mostly, especially for tourists, to travel around Syria. We felt really safe. It's a little bit old school traveling because a lot of the internet things don't work, so you don't have booking.com to find your hotel, you don't have Uber, you don't have one to go to find a bus from here to there. You have to do like calling, talking to people, and some old school as we used to do it when you're backpacking like 20-30 years ago. Not me, but it's still, in terms of safety, we feel very safe here. Let's see if you can explore a little bit more with safety. We are getting to Jobar, and then we already see quite some destruction here. The neighborhood in Damascus, one of the most bombed places throughout the war. What freaks me out when then you find clothes around. Yeah, no, like, okay, it's not just rubble, it's not just concrete. There was people here. One thing that I see as a somewhat positive, those garage doors, they're brand new. So it's like even the building are still affected. People are starting to rebuild. Some people are starting to coming back, or at least to bring their stuff back to a garage. So much so that they make a brand new door because see, it's brand new. There's no bullet holes, nothing. And the building is quite beat up. And right on the side, like abandoned cars. One thing interesting is everywhere we go, they paint over the old flag, like the red flag from the Bashar regime. And here you can see they didn't even touch yet, like because they're not doing much here. They just clean the roads. That's the first step. But then, especially because they don't know if those places are booby trapped, they have or an explosives ordinance. So it's kind of not super safe to get into there without the proper security and someone from the military looking for mines for booby traps or unexploded devices. So here, like, they didn't even paint yet. And I just noted that this is the falling minaret. That's the minaret from that mosque over there, and it's just collapsed here. So you have even the tip right over there. So sad. The other side of the minaret. So let's try to... It was a big mosque. That's where the imam would stay preaching. And you can see the bomb holes there on the roof. And right over there, you see already Damascus, like the normal Damascus.
He's been living here for several years. Like kind of blondish. My Arabic teacher knew him because she came to her hotel briefly and she saw him.
We are trying to adventure ourselves a little bit around here. And we know there are some tunnels here that the rebels use the tunnels to hide from the bombardment and everything. But obviously we can't venture ourselves inside these tunnels by ourselves, right? Those are probably one of the most booby-trapped places. So what we would do, the water tower right over there. If sometimes there's a kid here that say, hey, do you want me to take the tunnels? Give me some money and I take you to the tunnels. But so far I haven't seen any kid doing that here. There's almost no one here. So much destruction.
Google had done this great thing.
Think about the Russians now in Ukraine. They can't control the skies at all because the Ukrainians have a lot of anti-aircraft weapons, a lot of assets to shoot down helicopters and Russian planes. But here, the rebels had none. So Russia had completely control of the sky and they could keep hovering here as much as they want and bombed as much as they want. You can see the patterns over there on the roof with where the light would be and everything. So this wasn't a bad neighborhood at all. It was a pretty decent neighborhood. Right here in Jobar, right by the side of the destruction, there is this UNICEF building here. This is brand new. The walls haven't been built now. The painting is brand new. But if you look inside, the warehouse is all bombed. Maybe it was a UNICEF warehouse and now they are building it to bring help to this specific area here. And UNICEF, you know, is for education for children. Maybe they want to start building schools and everything, which would be very positive. Actually, over there's a new building. But I don't know if you watched our Afghanistan video. You see a lot of children walk on the street with the little UNICEF backpack, a blue backpack. And you see the schools as well, all blue. So it was, the schools were financed, constructed by the UNICEF, and the kids got school material from the UNICEF. And usually if you are from a rich country or even a middle high class country, you don't see the work of the United Nations. You think like, this is just a bloated bureaucratic institution. In some parts they are, but it's in the poorest of the poorest regions in the world is where you see the work of the United Nations making a difference on people's life. Really, really like saving lives or giving basic education to children. And without education, it's very easy to radicalize someone. So with education, you give much more chances for a brighter future for this person, for this child. Now you can see a good view of the warehouse. One thing you don't see, you don't find too much, although I found the Aleppo Citadel are bullet case. Why? Because it's a good metal. So people who scavenger for metal, for recycling, to get paid and recycle, they go through all the bullet cases. Obviously I didn't go really inside the building, but here, at least around here, I don't see bullet cases at all. And that's something, I was in Vietnam, I asked the guide, but shouldn't have more American equipment, military equipment abandoned everywhere and everything. They said no. When the war ended, everyone took all the metal and started using recycling, using for different things. So there was like a crashed helicopter in Vietnam. They would completely dismantle the helicopter and get all the metal, valuable components for them. This was a factory and it's also completely destroyed. Part of the old sidewalk here. So it seems to me it was a well taken care of neighborhood here. The chandelier right over there. Imagine each one of those apartments was a family that used to live here, or they got killed, or they just had to leave their house. Maybe they went to Europe, maybe they went to Dubai and everything as a refugees. And what they're gonna come back for? Nothing. Zero. And if there was something left, people took away everything they had, right? Or other people stole whatever valuable was there. Imagine all the accidents they had here with people scavenger, and there was some explosives. So, or this was a trench system because it goes all the way around between buildings here and there, from those buildings all the way to those buildings, or oh yeah, maybe there's a tunnel there, or was part of a tunnel system that collapsed, tunnel system that the rebels were using. This is the stuff of nightmares. It's like a post-apocalypse place. Imagine there is a third world war, a nuclear war, a pandemic and everything. That's what the world would look like.
Except this is worse because we know it actually happened.
This is not Hollywood, this actually happened. But also, you see the concrete and you see everything, but there is nothing. Like everything was scavenger, everything was taken away. But I don't know if during the war or just after the war, anything of value, even some of the cables, everything was taken away. But don't worry, as I mentioned, this video is not gonna be just about war, about drama, about destruction, as a lot of the YouTubers and a lot of the mainstream media love to show. This is gonna be also about the contrast, the new Syria. This is the old Syria, represents to me Bashar al-Assad and his father and the 50 years of dictatorship, and the new Syria, the hopeful Syria. Especially if you watch our other videos, Aleppo, Latakia and so on, how vibrant the country is right now, how hopeful the country is right now. And in our perception, things are in the right path. Obviously, it's gonna have some issues. We know about the Alawites, we know about the Druze, we are aware of that. But for a country that was 50 years in a dictatorship, 14 years of a civil war, honestly, I believe they are in the right path. So we're gonna show the contrast soon. The destruction and the new Syria soon. And if you want to know more about the Russian role in the war and the bases in Latakia and Tartus, take a look at our video about Latakia. We talk more about that. As I mentioned, Jobar was pretty intense here. In 2017, there was a massive government Russian operation here to try to dislodge the rebels, and hundreds and hundreds of people were killed here. But finally, the rebels left the area only in 2018. I'm almost sure. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments area. But they had so much fighting here. A lot of places around Damascus. Way before 2017, some of the rebels there, they just gave up and made an agreement with the government for free passage. We leave this area and you won't attack us. The rebels here, no, they were like, we stay here until we die. We're not gonna give up. Pieces of car there. As you can see, there are a lot of open streets that were clean, but some of them, they still have barricades because they haven't been cleaned, especially from explosives. Right by the side here, there's this garage with a brand new door, and they have a sign there saying like explosives and everything. So I think a lot of the explosives that they found here in the rubble, they cleaned and they put it right over there, maybe to dispose safely after they have cleaned more stuff. Destroyed car. But now it's time for the new Damascus and the new free Syria.